Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this as a source. So now, if I add this as a source,
abuse their position to say. If you've been
can you hear our beautiful boy?
watching my live streams, you will know that I've pointed out one particular Chris Evans.
Hey, okay, gotcha. So for some reason, I just added him as a source in my video sources thing, even though usually desktop audio doesn't need that. Whatever. Okay, back to it. If you're watching from the archives, folks, I don't know.
Rogers might do with the power of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Right.
Him at the Comic-Con in Chicago. What he, not Steve Rogers, might do with the power of the Infinity Gauntlet if he had the chance. He was hesitant to give a direct answer for fear of dividing fans. But guess what? He's going to do it anyway because they can't help themselves. You put a little bit of money in somebody's pocket and all of a sudden
They have opinions.
people have two shits to give what they have to say. He will go on
He knows it was an interview, right? Like, generally speaking, when you ask a question at an interview, you want an answer?
to say.
I don't know.
The things I might
Hang on a
say, I say might be too political for a comic book convention. So he is out loud sharing that he already knows it's a comic book convention and nobody is there to hear his political ideologies. But do you think he would take his own advice there and maybe just pass on the question? No, he couldn't.
This is the new Skull. I know that I said Darth Maul was the new Skull. Oh, look at that. Okay, I gotta hit play before I just...
Help himself. So he goes on to say,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
absolutely.
I've alienated
Absolutely,
enough
Sonia.
of my base.
And
I think it's
I've just
pretty
been
clear what
having
I
to do a bunch
do.
of stuff lately. But I can sit down and have a chat in a bit.
What?
You can feel free to message me your broad thoughts about the Endgame if you're worried about like forgetting anything. But in any case, I would love to sit and have a chat at some point.
Would you do, Mr. Evans? Well, fans who follow Evans on social media likely know that he is an outspoken critic of President Trump. He recently appeared in the March for Our Lives hilarious commercial where he said the 2016 election, quote, turned out poorly. He also criticized rapper Kanye West's pro-Trump statements by saying there's nothing more maddening than debating someone who doesn't know history, doesn't read books, and frames their myopia as virtue. Yeah. We know you pay for Grammarly, Chris Evans. Congratulations.
Chris Evans has a Grammarly account?
So what is the implication you have, Chris Evans, that you would disappear all the Republicans? Is that what your intention is? Like that other comic book pro that said something around the lines of, I wish I had a button to make everyone in the GOP disappear? And then you have actresses like Brie Larson, who might have been great in her upcoming role, but is quoted as saying things like, I don't want to hear from film critics, or I want to hear from film critics who aren't white dudes. Quote, I don't need a 40-year-old white dude. Tell me what didn't work in About a Wrinkle of Time. Well, let me tell you something, Brie.
Is he reading from a script, or what's he doing? Hang on a second. Then debating someone doesn't know history. Political purpose. He would use it for political purposes. So that's what he said. So he literally said, the things I would say might be too political for a comic book convention. I think I've alienated enough of my base. I think it's pretty clear what I'd probably do.
Marvel,
get rid of Trump,
who recently had her backstory rewritten to write a man out of it. I wonder why that is. I wonder if that could have been a request from Brie Larson.
Sorry, I missed that last part.
Rewritten to write a man out of it. Something. Brie, Captain Marvel, who recently had her backstory rewritten to write a man out of it. I wonder why that is. I wonder if that could have been a request from Brie Larson.
Captain Marvel's backstory has been rewritten to have a man, to not have a man in it. Was this made before Captain Marvel came out? Yeah, it was. Well, I guess aged poorly because there's two main characters. Sorry, there's Captain Marvel, and then there's Nick Fury, who's her sidekick for the whole movie, and then there's Jude Law's character, who's also pretty pivotal to the movie. So
one wonders. We don't care. We don't care what you have to say about politics. Given the option, you should pass on these questions.
Oh God. So there's so much in there. I think that the thing is about the quartering stuff is I can't even begin to delve into that. Like the Geeks and Gamers thing I think is going to be fairly straightforward, but the quartering is literally advocating for silencing people if they have political opinions. Not even like, don't speak out about politics if no one's asking you. Quite literally, if people are asking you, you should not say anything, because you might alienate consumers. Like, it's the most it's the most, this is pure ideology. This is pure ideology. Sorry, I can't even begin to do a Slavoj-Zizek accent. So the quartering today, Brit, is saying if an actor is asked a question that's political in nature, the actor should refuse to respond because it might alienate consumers. Do not express your opinions if there's a chance that your consumers may feel alienated by that.
Yeah, but there are people that have as much of a right to an opinion.
Also, people saying hi, Brit. Pybot says hi, Brit.
Hello. Even if it's, the wrong opinion. Did you eat all the sandwich meat?
What? Sandwich meat? Oh, yeah, that was like last week.
Okay.
Make yourself a Boca burger.
I guess.
Oh, also, or make yourself a taco with the leftover taco, or eat the gumbo that I made you. Eat the gumbo that I made you like 5 days ago, and you put it in the fridge and said, "I'll have it." Yeah, because it's gone off because you put it in the fridge as leftover.
Put it in the microwave and then eat it.
I thought you meant hard as in solidified because you put it in there like 5 days ago and kept saying you were going to eat it and then didn't eat it. Listen, folks, there's only one thing that bothers me in this world, and it's when people put leftovers in the fridge and then don't eat them. If you're going to put leftovers in the fridge, you better plan on eating them. Or I'm not going to be happy.
Okay, I'll find something to eat.
I love my wife.
For abusing
No, you don't.
the intellectual property of Marvel to gain a platform, and then you use it instead of being a friend of the fans, who are unfortunately.
I have no
for
thoughts
Brie
on
Larson,
Mueller
a lot
inviting
older
ER on
white
his
dudes.
podcast. He already promotes him on his channel, so.
Why won't you just shut up? Okay.
He's so straightforward, I guess, is the thing. Again, in the same way that Geeks and Gamers does give the impression that he genuinely cares about this stuff, even if he is kind of just pandering to his audience. And as opposed to the quartering who just says, yeah, I'm just saying this shit because it gets clicks. So you get Geeks and Gamers who are saying, like, you can have your opinions, I just disagree with them, and I will disagree with them and say these things. Whereas the quartering will just say, if you say things that I disagree with, just shut up. Just shut up. Don't talk about things that I may disagree with. Jazzahole, thank you very much for the follow, friend.
This is a opportunity for you to get some advice from your core audience, whether you like it or not. We don't care. I wish it didn't affect me in the way that sometimes it does, and I try. I really do. To separate the art from the artist. But I know at the end of the day where my dollar is going when I go to the cinema or when
I try and separate the art from the artist, is literally incapable of separating Brie Larson from Captain Marvel. Like, if you notice that of a lot of the critics of Captain Marvel, you sort of see this as we go through the videos. Whenever they criticize Captain Marvel, they're kind of also criticizing Brie Larson, and then when they criticize Brie Larson, that then becomes a criticism of Captain Marvel. They're just the same thing to these people.
I buy a DVD, and I, in good faith, cannot. So Captain Marvel might have been an amazing movie, but because Brie Larson is an absolute garbage human in real life, I won't see it. And because Mr. Evans...
It's weird that there was no controversy over him calling Brie Larson a garbage human, but then when Anita called Sargon a garbage human for, like, you know, the rape threats and making fun of her being assaulted and harassing her, things like that, that's really bad.
It turns out now to be an absolute garbage human, I will not see another Avengers film. And here's the thing. It's really easy up in your ivory tower.
So Brie Larson is a garbage human because she said she wanted to hear more critical voices that weren't just straight white middle-aged men. So that was the main thing. She was talking about how she thinks it's fucked up how 20% of the US, for instance, are women of color, for instance. But 2% of the top critics, the ones who actually get, like, you know, to set visits and most of the press coverage and things like that, 2% of those are women of color. And she wishes that there was more diversity there, especially because a lot of the time these movies are speaking to perspectives you might not have if you're a middle-aged straight white dude, right? Which is a fairly non-controversial point, but apparently she's a garbage human now, so.
Powers to say, well, there's just another angry man, baby. Okay, fine. Keep saying it.
Calling someone out when they're in a crowd is pretty different from doing it in a video. Yeah, I mean, I guess so, because in that crowd there's probably like a couple thousand people, whereas this video has almost 100,000 views. So I guess the video would be worse in this instance.
I highly doubt. You can go ahead and take a look at the like to dislike ratio on this video, and you'll find, I'm guessing, that at least maybe one person agrees with me. And yeah, when it comes to music, I honestly am able to really separate the two. A lot of the bands that I really enjoy would probably call me some horrible names online.
What bands?
But when it comes to playing comic book characters, there is a certain amount of respect that comes with that. You must respect.
I see. The funny thing about the mindsets there is that when he started talking about bands from his past, I was thinking he was going to talk about, you know, like John Lennon assaulting John Lennon's domestic abuse, or, you know, bands, you know, the rapists in Motley Crue and things like that. I wasn't expecting him to say, well, some of the bands, they might be mean to me.
The character. And because nowadays, whoever plays the particular character is so closely tied to...
He doesn't edit any of his shit. He puts up like 3 videos a day.
Fantasy World 1. As a fan, I can't separate the two. Maybe that makes me a pathetic man baby. Maybe. But I can tell you, you're not going to get my $15 to see your movie. And you can sit out there and smell your own farts all you want. And you can blame toxic masculinity. And you can blame everything else. But at the end of the day, Hollywood, it's the actors you're hiring. You are taking on their opinions. And they are using our intellectual property, the community in general, technically Marvel's.
Ooh, he let that one slip, didn't he? He's letting our creative properties be exploited now. The Quartering, you've never made. Has he ever made anything? Has the Quartering ever made anything? Did he do that comic book, or was that another guy? He's claimed ownership over shit that he has literally nothing to do with. Especially Captain Marvel. Like, I'm sorry to say this, but technically speaking, at this point, Brie Larson probably has more of a right to claim ownership of Captain Marvel as a character than you do, my friend.
Technically Marvel's.
Technically Marvel's. Technically Marvel has
project
ownership of the
their political
property that
ideology.
I have absolutely no role in
Nobody
creating.
cares Brie Larson. Nobody cares Chris Evans. And nowadays, it's so easy to find literally anything else to watch. Or I could go outside, watch a squirrel play in the tree. I'm fine with that. Because it is the
Can we campaign to get the quartering to please go outside?
unrelenting coverage that media gives these idiots and treats them like we're supposed to give a rat's ass what they have to say about the current political climate. It's their fault. They're the ones sticking the microphone in the face of Chris Evans and asking him what he thinks about Trump. Nobody cares.
Very fittingly, this video ends with just a black void of nothingness. Okay. So. I'm just going to put this in my notes real quick. So this is the quartering saying, if you have a political opinion, shut up. That one's fairly straightforward, I guess. I was expecting him to have fairly like non-controversial takes, at least to begin with, or at least like just to reiterate what Geeks and Gamers were saying. But he's going way further, almost immediately. If you have political opinions, just shut up. I'll keep that one in mind. So. Oh god, look at all these spicy takes here. Let's see what he has to say about the Captain Marvel
What's going on,
trailer.
everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering, and
I love this framing here. He's doing the what's it called? What's the thing where it's like it's a cinematic technique where you have like thing here, thing here, thing here, thing here. Yeah, the composition is very nice. I like this.
I asked.
It's very artsy.
What
It's very,
you
very
might wanna see today,
quadrants.
and
He's
this'll
using quadrants here.
probably be a little bit different of a video. I don't suspect I will hardly ever do trailer reaction
Buy life insurance.
because
I need to buy life insurance because this video makes me want to.
I'm assuming they just get struck. I'm not sure how this is even going to work, but I'm going to try it. You guys let me know that the Captain Marvel trailer was out, and I have to admit I have not watched it. I figured.
Wait, his name's Jeremy?
Well, I'm assuming they just get struck. I'm not sure how this is even going to work, but I'm going to try it. You guys let me know that
Howdy, Marston
the
Games.
Captain Marvel.
Hello, Sweden.
trailer
What time is it over in
and,
Sweden?
I have to admit I have not watched it. I figured if I'm going to do reaction, it's got to be live. It's got to be in the moment. I also have to admit that I really dislike Brie Larson. I think she has a habit of having the same bored, like middle-aged mom at the grocery store look on her face. I don't suspect.
So this is another big one that we're going to need to make sure that we nail down if we do the video on this. Before the anything about the she doesn't want it, she wants to hear about more perspectives than straight white middle-aged dudes. Before that, I think the main criticism of Brie Larson was that she occasionally looked bored and her bum isn't big.
She'll be super exciting in the role of Captain Marvel. But I don't know. I'm willing to give...
He doesn't comb his hair because he has to place it in a very strategic way so that it's not obvious that he's balding. Anyway.
The film a shot. I'm willing to separate the art from the artist from the most part. So let me take a look at this. I'll probably try to react a little bit through it, but I won't interrupt it too much. And then we'll talk about it afterwards. Okay, so it's a blockbuster, so
War is a universal
the 90s, roughly.
I know a renegade soldier when I see one.
There's that look. There's that.
Let's just pause on a few quartering faces here. There's that look. There's that look.
I thought Top Ramen was on sale, but when I got to the register, it was a different price. Can I get one of the stock boys to give me a price check?
Where's Body Language Ghost? Can someone get Body Language Ghost on for this? Because, I mean, I need to get a sense of what... So it's very clear from this shot that she's jealous that Nick Fury doesn't want to have sex with her. I think it's very clear from this shot that she's just not a nice human being. She's facing away. Her body's facing away from the camera, so it's like she doesn't even want to be there. But then she's looking back, and it's like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the impression that she's giving off here. I think that's very clear. I don't have any accreditation for any of this, just believe what I'm saying.
Check on Top Ramen.
Never occurred to me that one might come from above. Space.
There it is again, the exact same look. The many face of Brie Larson.
Invasion. Big car chase.
Is he literally just going to keep
That
pausing
looks
to
really
show...
cheesy. The CGI looks kind of...
Dude, don't pick your fucking ears.
Low budget.
Be told,
Right.
I was ready to hang it up until I met you today.
Oh, they made him look young. Looks like they're using CG on his face to make him look younger. It's something that Marvel's done before. Looks pretty good. It'd be interesting if we get some more background on Nick Fury. Of all of these kind of side characters, it'd be tough probably for Nick Fury to have his own movie, especially at the age Samuel L. Jackson is, because you'd really want to see like a young Nick Fury and how he got to the way he was. But here we see no eye patch.
So you're not from around here?
It's
Oh,
hard
a
to
smile.
explain.
A half smile.
I keep
There's a look. There's the, are these cantaloupes in season? Have any customers returned these cantaloupes? Or perhaps this lady in front of me is using a check to pay for her groceries. I gotta say, of the effects, I don't know offhand what the...
This one's almost more exhausting than Geeks and Gamers, because I felt like Geeks and Gamers was at least... I felt like I could make fun of it. Whereas the quartering is just like he's making points that are so obviously easy to counter that it's just exhausting to even try. Like, do I need to point out that it's very easy to pause people at any moment during any scene and catch a weird expression because people are usually moving and, you know, going through different expressions? And, like, for instance, this shot right here where the quartering looks like he smelled a fart. Like, yeah, that's how it looks when you pause people like that.
It seems low. It seems like this could very easily be like a...
Yeah,
a
exactly.
Netflix series
Exactly,
or an
Commie
Amazon
Zumbini.
series or like a show on the CW to that point. It looks like Iron Man 3 type effects. But what you have here
Iron Man
is
3 had good
basically
effects.
A movie with what
Black
appears to
Panther had
be
bad effects.
a decent but not big budget, and you have a character that most people don't have any idea of who she is. I do think the sound...
Oh,
track
to
of the trailer
Kalela,
so
thank you for
far
the follow,
is
pal.
pretty good, but Brie Larson is aggressively mediocre.
bring these memories. I see flashes. I
There's
think
that same
I had
look.
a life here, but I can't tell if it's real.
There it is again. It's the same look every single time. Brie Larson is boring. I mean, unless against all odds in this random herky-jerky trailer,
Will there
which
be-
appears to be
hang
all
on.
over the place. We're not really seeing a lot of continuity, but Marvel trailers, they're not always the best.
So remember, like, last video when I said about, you know, separating the art from the artist, and how immediately these people will switch from criticizing Captain Marvel to criticizing Brie Larson. So, like, he has already discarded the notion that Captain Marvel is just a serious stoic character who, yes, is not very expressive because that's in her character, right? She's a fairly kind of, holds herself pretty seriously, right? She holds herself. She's not like doing goofy expressions. She's not doing the fucking DreamWorks face. But he's discarded that. No, that's just Brie Larson. The cameras, they turned the cameras on. They said, Brie, you just do your thing. Just be you. That's all they did.
It can be good. I'm sure we'll see another 2 or maybe 3 trailers before this movie actually comes out. But holy crap, the exact same expression.
Yeah, what's up with these two? These two aren't doing any expressions either. Just
trailer. And a lot of people are saying that, look, this is the
Why
new
isn't the
Avengers,
quartering
it's gonna be
smiling?
Black Panther, which turned out to be a 8 out of 10 movie, I thought. Wasn't great, wasn't terrible. Captain Marvel, which looks like it's going to be a hard
Actually,
sit.
yeah, I'll tell you what, Morbid Skulls. I'm sorry that I keep pausing the video, but this is a really important point to make. Can we just admire that the character of Captain Marvel is supposed to struggle for emotions, and all the shots she's pausing on are when she's still with the aliens and being told to not really show emotions? Yes. So this is something that I kind of overlooked in my video on the subject, because I kind of found the characterization of Captain Marvel to be... But I think that in retrospect, it works well because what she's constantly being told about her character is the opposite of how she actually is. So she's being told she's way too emotional, right? And I'm sure that people like the Quartering would see the movie and be like, haha, she's being told that she's too emotional, but actually she just like barely emotes a lot of the time. She's like very like held close, and like she's not very open and expressive. But the actual core theme of the movie is that she is being told to hold in her emotions. She's being gaslit constantly, right? So it's interesting how that has these kinds of reflections on the real world, where Brie Larson is being told that she just needs to smile more, honey. Like she's being told how to handle her own emotions, right?
If I had to call it right now, critics will give it a 95% because my woman, and fans will probably give it like low 70s. But normies might actually still like it. It just depends.
I can't even talk about that.
Oh my god. Of course. Start with the her. Not a good sign. Now, Captain Marvel is strong, lore-wise, but the question is, are they going to just make her OP because her? I believe they will. I believe she'll be basically indestructible. I also believe there will be no real stakes in this movie where she's at any real risk. I could be wrong. It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, that's an issue of pretty much every...
Can't do
Probably
this alone.
That's an issue of pretty much every Marvel side movie, right?
90.
I'm not what you think I am.
It's the exact same look. Gotta say, it is about what I expected. I'd have to say, beginning to end, the biggest plus of that trailer was the soundtrack. I thought it was pretty.
Oh
pretty
god.
good. That's pretty standard for Marvel. Just like the
Is that 12 Rules for Life? Is this 12 Rules for Life? Let's just carry on.
constant epic soundtrack in front of everything. But that went well. The cuts, like just examining the actual cinematography of the trailer, the cuts were well timed with the music. It didn't really paint any
It's
picture.
it's
It
next
didn't make
to
me
Steven
wanna go
Pinker.
see it.
Yeah.
This is the same actress, by the way, who publicly shamed a TSA agent and said, I merely smiled at a TSA agent, and he asked me for my phone number. To live life as a woman is to live life on the defense.
Whammin's in the chat. We got our first whammin of the day.
That's not the type of thing that I would expect a superhero character to say. I can suspend that.
I would not. She's not a superhero character. She's a human being that was bothered by the fact that she was being asked for a number by random people for almost no reason, right? She's not actually a superhero, Quartering. Jeremy, sorry.
Make her super.
Wait, what should we call him? Because we called the other guy Mr. Gamers. What do we call the Quartering?
OP, that's going to be dumb. If they don't spend any time building her origin, that's going to be super dumb. If And it does look like they've woven in. They're going to use flashbacks probably to weave in some of her origin story. But it looks like
The quartering is what happens when John Stuart Mills has a child with Homer Simpson.
majority of the film is like she's already got her powers. She's on this planet. You know, Nick Fury, excited to see if we can see some of his early parts. But, you know, it's entirely possible that we basically saw most of his Samuel L. Jackson's lines already. The trailer itself, to me, has no feeling. It's just kind of a hodgepodge of special effects that look like they belong on the CW or Netflix. I don't blame, obviously, Brie Larson for that. But what's going to be hilarious is now, if you've never noticed that, like, annoyed mom at
I
the
like that
grocery
he has
store
to
expression
clarify
that Brie Larson has in
that
real
one
life
of
all the
his
time.
criticisms of Captain Marvel is not a criticism of Brie Larson's person.
I mean, apparently, throughout this entire film, you're not going to be able to unsee that. It's going to be in your mind every time you see her on camera. She's going to have that same mildly annoyed, mildly elitist look, like my kids are on the honor roll and your kid, I saw your kid eating dirt kind of look. You know, maybe a wry smile here and there. I'm not expecting a lot out of Brie Larson in this role. I think if anything will hold this movie back, it will be the special effects budget. If it looks cheesy, that's not going to help it. And Brie Larson is going to hold it back. It probably won't be the story. I don't know who I would have cast instead of her, but
Emily Blunt
she
is probably
sucks.
would be the
She's-
go-to that I
just
see.
based on her history of
Gamers
acting,
often like to
and
say
what
Emily
she does
Blunt
in real life. I'm just
because they liked Edge of
you
Tomorrow.
can say that I'm focusing a lot on Brie Larson, but she's also the main actress, and focus on her acting in the trailer. But I think this will be it will make plenty of money because the world is obsessed with Marvel. They will spend a fortune advertising it, and to be honest, the trailer
Set your
had a
Homer in
decent
order.
reaction. When I went to download it, the upvotes and downvotes were overwhelmingly in positive. I saw some negative comments, unless Marvel's deleting them. It looks like most people are impressed with it, but you know, Marvel makes superheroes for normies. Marvel doesn't make superhero movies.
Oh
for
god,
superheroes.
is Normies the meme for? If Whammon was the meme for Mr. Gamers, is this guy's meme gonna be Normies?
Fans. What they do for superhero fans is they give us Easter eggs and little callbacks and things like that. You know, they always have something hidden in Guardians of the Galaxy or little nods.
I
to
need
the
to pee
true
real
fandom,
bad,
and that's what
so we're
kept
gonna
kind
finish
of the true
this
fans
off, and then I'm
going,
gonna
even
go
when we're
pee
disappointed
time.
with something like Iron Man 3. You know, because you're always going to get a little nugget, but the overwhelming target audience of a movie like this is ultra normies, and especially when you're going to take.
Oh
Captain
my
Marvel
god!
and
Well, this
Brie
is definitely
Larson.
getting in
This
the
will be one
video.
of the lowest grossing Marvel films, lowest netting in a long time. That's my prediction. You know, come back and let me know if I was wrong.
Wait.
Captain Marvel and Brie Larson. This will be one of the lowest grossing Marvel films, lowest netting in a long time.
Wasn't it like the 5th highest grossing Marvel Cinematic Universe? Hang on a second. I feel like we checked this last time, but just to check, double check rather. I'm just gonna leave it on this for a second. Reception. Gross. I want the gross. Oh god, I gotta pee so much. Where's the gross? God damn it! Find me the gross before I fucking piss myself. Films. That's development. I can't see it. Oh, fuck it. There, feature film. Yes, list of films. Release, home media, box office performance. All-time ranking. Worldwide. Okay, worldwide sales. Captain Marvel is like here, so it's like above average. Anyway, I'm gonna pee real bad before I die. Okay, we're back.
What's going on, everyone? And little callbacks and things like that. You know, they always have something hidden in Guardians of the Galaxy. Little nods to the true fandom, and that's what's kept.
So yeah, the huge flop Captain Marvel only made $1.1 billion. Shame.
Kind of the true fans going, even when we're disappointed with something like Iron Man 3, you know, because you're always going to get a little nugget. But the overwhelming target audience of a movie
Yeah,
like
I
this
saw
is
that.
ultra
Super
normies,
button.
and especially when you're going to take Captain Marvel
Maybe I'll
and Brie
mention that.
Larson. This will be one of the lowest grossing Marvel films, lowest netting in a long time. That's my prediction. You know, come back and let me know if I was wrong in March of 2019. I look forward to hearing your comments in the comment section down below. Girl power, and we'll see you a little bit later today with a new video.
None of the comments are pointing out that he was wrong. Weird. Oh, well, I hope he maintains that sick quadrant artistic angle. Alright.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quadrant.
Oh, sorry.
wanna
I
thank
need
you all-
to add that as a little note. We'll make sure to make a note here. The greatest crime, not smiling. Also, Brie Larson and Captain Marvel are the same person.
For all your immense support this week, whether it's just liking the videos, by the way, like this video, sharing the videos, leaving your comments, hanging out with me on
bad
live
placement
streams.
here
It's
for
been an
Jeremy.
absolutely amazing week, even with all the poop that's gone on. Today, I think I've got 2 videos, and I hope you're going to like them both. They're both pretty spicy. So, Captain Marvel, obviously, a hilarious living meme. It will be a movie that does fine in the theaters, but has looked absolutely desperate the entire way. Imagine having to raise over $60,000 to buy tickets for people to see a movie. I mean, why not just expect people to go see the movie? Could you imagine if there was a GoFundMe for sending soy-infused young boys to see what a real man looks like? I mean,
Soy boy.
I don't even understand this trend of virtue signaling and ticket selling all at once. But it gets even more hilarious. I want you to stick around because holy crap. So yesterday an article came out that says...
To be honest, Morbid Skulls, I would disagree with that. I actually think that Captain Marvel was very referential to the other Marvel movies. Like with all the stuff with Nick Fury and Coulson and stuff like that. I felt like... And it had the Cosmic Cube in it. And it had Ronan the Accuser as the main villain in it. To me, it was like a lot of the references to other Marvel movies felt like they had been thrown in to make the movie more immediately like compelling to people to come see. It's like, oh, you'll see more of these characters and figure out how they got here. But I just tend to not like prequel type stuff where it's like, here's the character you know. Here's how that character became the character that you know. Generally, it's hard for me to get invested in that kind of stuff, but I get what you're saying.
Rotten Tomatoes shut down lead trolls targeting... Oh, I'm sorry. Rotten Tomatoes shut down trolls targeting female-led blockbuster. Could you cram more hilarious buzzwords into your title? I'm not sure. I'm going to try to on this video. A blockbuster. It's right. It's a blockbuster. Is set to open with a lead who is...
Do you think he's contractually obliged to put, like, merchandise around him as he speaks?
Not male and not white. No! Yeah, I remember when I was going to see The Equalizer, how I was like, man, I wish Denzel was white. People are excited about the film, but trolls hijack the conversation. That's right. If so many people are excited about the film,
Well, Denzel gets the
how
white
come
card,
a few
right?
hundred trolls can dominate it? I don't know. It's an interesting
It's
thing.
like Michael Jordan.
Of course.
I love Michael Jordan. He's my
sometimes
favorite
targeting the movie
basketballer.
stars. No, they didn't.
How can I be
What
racist when I
should
like
be,
Michael Jordan?
have been a good time instead has become an internet maelstrom in which a movie and its actors must not only promote the
I've
work,
listened to
but
Kendrick Lamar.
simultaneously assert its right to exist. Oh, man. One website took steps to interrupt that cycle. On Monday, Rotten Tomatoes, an online review aggregation service that allows the public to score movies alongside critics, announced it would no longer allow users to comment ahead of a movie's release. Rotten Tomatoes assured users that it would be able to post reviews after the movies have opened. By the way, Rotten Tomatoes, rest in pepperonis. Can I get an F in the chat? You've been dead for a long time, but now you finally removed the mask and let us all know exactly who you work for. It's number.
Rotten Tomatoes is dead. I thought that like it was only in the last couple of years that literally movies started advertising themselves with Rotten Tomato scores. Like I remember when I was on the London Underground a few times, you would get posters for games and movies. Actually, no, it wouldn't be games, right? That would be
Moral
Metacritic.
support.
Oh, thank you very much for the $5, Jean Jacket 29. Yeah, like I started noticing Rotten Tomato scores, tomatoes, whatever, America has destroyed me. Rotten Tomatoes scores popping up on movie posters, so it seems like it's getting taken more seriously, but whatever. I guess now that Captain Marvel haters, now that the real fans have been silenced, people just aren't gonna go to Rotten Tomatoes anymore.
Number 2. Rotten Tomatoes
Get woke, go broke, am I right?
use the site has
Just
been
like
used
Captain Marvel's
by
box
some
office figures.
individuals to quote try or at least threaten to brigade audience ratings for films such as
Yeah.
Black Panther, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which both feature diverse casts and prominent female characters. Oh my God! Remember when this happened to Wonder Woman? Remember when this happened to Get Out? Me either. Both excellent films who did not suffer the same fate. If there's anyone to blame for review brigading, it is absolutely the lies that the shill media keeps putting out. You keep attacking
Shill media?
fandom and lying about it. Imagine
Uh-oh.
if these people covered it correctly and said, hey, there's
Countdown to the quartering saying something about shekels.
some things that Brie Larson said about white men that is, a little absurd, especially if she said this about any other color or gender. But, maybe the movie's going to do good. Imagine that. Oh, I haven't covered any articles like that because I don't think they exist. This decision comes ahead of the release of the biggest female-fronted blockbuster of the year, Captain Marvel. In the film, which opens next week, actress Brie Larson plays a superhero endowed.
Going back to the good old-fashioned content mill of just reading an article. I think that we're going to see some patterns with Geeks and Gamers there.
With the mysterious powers by an alien race. Early reactions have been positive. I would say they've been mixed, and it's projected to make about $100 million its opening weekend, Variety reports. But Larson has also been speaking loudly and consistently about the lack of representation in film journalists, making her a target for accusation.
Bremaking? Hang on a second, was that just a typo? Okay, I guess that's just a typo. Bremaking.
That she is a racist and sexist against white men. Well, she is. I mean, actually, I think, let me correct that. People can say things that are sexist. That doesn't necessarily make them a sexist person, okay?
This is research damage Cortex, so that we can't be accused of taking them out of context. As with the Geeks and Gamers videos, when we were making our way through as many of those as we can, so that when we do make a video, they can't say, "Oh, you just watched one video." We watched as many as we could physically handle. This is true representation
I
here.
feel like I need to do a job differentiating.
No chalky milk for me today.
We
This
don't
is
know
water.
what's in Bree's head.
We're out of chalky
we know
milk.
she said something that's pretty heinous, and
Chocolate milk for the working man.
she's doubled and tripled down on that. So you could make maybe a conclusion that this is who she is. But I'm going to reserve. I need to be a little more calm about it and say, look, she said something heinous, but to this point, she's not.
Brit was gonna get Yoo-Hoos, but if it was like you get a pack and it's like $5, and it's like I'm not paying $5 for chocolate milk.
Backtracked one bit. Then, of course, Rotten Tomatoes also made changes to its audience ratings to more accurately and authentically represent the voice of fans. You mean only people who like movies? Because let's be honest. Rotten Tomatoes makes money when people buy tickets off their website and selling advertising?
My personal take, you can tell me I'm wrong. I think that there should be some kind of authentication process where you have to display your ticket to be able to post a review on Rotten Tomatoes. That's just me. You may disagree.
If everyone sees movies with real scores, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, they're not going to buy tickets.
Like maybe you can tie it in with like a tie-in between Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes, where like you can link your accounts and then that will verify it for you. I don't know.
That's just the way it works. They sell a movie advertising space to the movie industry, and if their scores were real, well, then it wouldn't be serving their masters. Make no mistake about it, isn't the viewer. Interesting article, which I'm not going to read all the way through because it's already proven itself to be full of baloney. But again, Rotten Tomatoes shuts down trolls, except Rotten Tomatoes themselves said that the change wasn't because of Captain Marvel. Now, if I was a journalist...
Well, it's like there's barcodes on that stuff, right? So you could probably have a barcode reader that just does that. You've got plenty of like authentication things where you just have to put you have the option of putting your card or whatever up against your webcam and then it will just read it for you. I don't know.
I would just say whatever I want.
Yeah, QR code or something.
But, if you're going off the word of the president of Rotten Tomatoes, this change was not to protect dead-face Brie Larson, although I think we all know it probably was. But let's get to some more hilarity. All right, so I want to buy movie tickets, all right? I'm going to go to Fandango. Now, we know this is basically pulling out all the stops to protect a movie. I want to buy tickets in my hometown.
Wait,
see my zip code.
Fandango's protecting movies?
Let's go. Let's see what we got.
Oof.
Okay, so
That's
this
bold
weekend,
to put his zip code in.
We've got Tyler Perry's Medea. Good lord. We've got
What's wrong with
How to
that?
Train Your Dragon. That'll probably be good. Lita. Fans really seem to like it. Interesting stuff. Cold Pursuit. I'll probably see that when it comes out on tape because I'm kind of or on DVD. God, that was a boomer moment. Because I'm just a fan of the Neesons. Except he has said some pretty spicy things. But let's see. I want to see what I'm doing next weekend. I see what my wife and I want to go see it.
Just to clarify, the spicy things that Liam Neeson said was that there was at one point he walked around in a neighborhood looking for a black guy to beat to death with his kosh because his sister got raped. So she the only thing she said was the guy was black, so he was just going around looking for a black man to assault. That was the spicy thing he had to say.
Movies. What? The only movie out next weekend, by the way, is Captain Marvel. Now you might be saying to me, well, that's odd. Maybe it's a glitch, or maybe no other movies are offering pre-sales. Well, we all know that's not true. Well, let's look at Saturday. Well, here's Ferdinand, but again, only Captain Marvel and Ferdinand. If I want to look on Sunday, it lets me see a ticket for Back to the Future, Ferdinand, which is another Disney movie.
Is it not
Captain
just
Marvel.
movies that don't have pre-sales going on Fandango?
Titanic. These are just old classics.
Yeah, these are like special events.
So essentially, you can only buy tickets, especially if we look at Fridays, like the most hilarious example. Hey, dear, what movie do you want to see next Friday? I don't know. Let me go see what's showing. Oops. It's only Captain Marvel. Isn't that a little funny? Now,
Oh yeah. To add context, like Liam Neeson, I don't want to get into it too much, but I wouldn't like cancel Liam Neeson for that because he was specifically talking about how this was something that went through his mind decades ago, and it's like something he's ashamed of even thinking at the time. Like at the end of the day, you can't remove the context that like the guy was in Northern Ireland, which has absolutely no black people, probably didn't have great education considering it was what, like the 70s, or no, it was even like, wasn't it like the 60s? I don't know. I think we have to keep the context in mind with Liam Neeson, whereas like he knows that it was a really terrible, misguided thing. So I don't think it's like a situation where we can just completely write him off as like being a horrible racist that likes to kill black people, right? But also, why the fuck would you say that? Jesus Christ, Liam.
Fandango is owned by NBC and Warner Brothers, conveniently. Now, Warner Brothers owns DC Comics. So you could say it's interesting that they might choose to kind of shill, but it is an industry thing, right? It's good for DC when superhero movies do well. And of course, media sticks together. So make no mistake about it. Sites like Rotten Tomatoes and Fandango are tools for the industry to fool you, to lie to consumers and pretend they're here to serve you, but they're really here, obviously, serving an agenda. I mean, yes, it's a small thing,
Saving money with
but
Groupon is crazy.
isn't that interesting?
Tiffany Haddish, please stop.
This is the only movie, according to
Right.
Fandango,
This person's
showing
gonna
next
clarify it for
weekend
us.
in every theater around me. All right? If I look at this Friday, which again, okay, I have numerous choices, right? I could see anything I want. But for some
Yeah, like, I mean, some people will report. I think it's part of the American-centric nature of news nowadays to a large extent, where I remember there were some people tweeting about how, you know, oh, Liam Neeson was walking around in black neighborhoods looking for black men to assault. Northern Ireland did not have, like, black neighborhoods for the most. I can't imagine how many black neighborhoods there even were in his area in, like, the early 70s in Northern Ireland. Like, I don't know.
some reason, I don't know.
Yeah, Northern Ireland had a lot of fucked up shit going on, and yeah.
I don't know why it
Still
could
does in
be
various
like
ways.
this.
It
but I
is a
can
very
only
conservative
see
country.
Captain Marvel next Friday, opening day. To me, this is probably an advertising package that Fandango sells. It's almost definitely a pretty pathetic attempt to basically fool people into buying Captain Marvel tickets because they don't think anything else is showing. I don't know. But holy cow, that is funny. I've got a second video today on Bob's, so make sure you stick around to see that. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real
All right.
soon.
Let's get an update on this guy, because this could definitely be something we could add to the list of the offenses of Captain Marvel.
Hello
This is
everyone,
gonna
I am
be-
MegaRandom42, your favorite YouTube Harvey, and we're in the middle of a live stream. I accidentally went live with this, so sometimes that happens. Keep your notifications on, make sure your bell's checked. We're talking Captain Marvel.
I always check
Holy
my
crap.
bell.
So, you guys know how much I hate promoting Captain Marvel, and I do want to push this new hashtag, Orange Cat Good, Blonde Girl Bad, hashtag Orange Cat Good, because look at that face, oh my god, get out of here, look at that little face, oh he's so sweet, I just want to squeeze his little face and give him kisses, he's so cute. But we do have some Captain Marvel news to talk about, some controversies, so I actually did a little bit of a search. I looked up my local theaters. Well, I looked up Denver. I don't live in Denver, but I looked up Denver because I figured that was like the biggest chance of actually seeing something for Thursday, just to kind of put this whole controversy to rest. And on March 7th, we have Captain Marvel showing quite a bit. Captain Marvel opening at fan event, and Greta, St. Judy, Tyler Perry.
Wish we had fan events in my area.
With my family, how to
I wish I'd gone to like a premiere big event for Endgame, to be honest, because as of now I've only seen it once. I probably will see it a second time, but my viewing experience for Endgame was like really, really shit. We had sort of kids near us that were chattering through the movie. It's like you had to shush them occasionally, whatever. They're like 12-year-olds, whatever. But then the really bad one was that we had like these little kids that were like 4 or 5, maybe even a bit younger, and they had like a carer with them, and they were just running around the theater, yelling shit at the screen, literally at one point jumping up and down in front of us. It was really, really bad, and it definitely distracted me for large parts of the movie, and colored my experience. I get that sort of stuff's tricky, but I'll probably see it a second time. I wish that I'd gone to like a proper event where mostly adults, but
They changed the dragon, all this other stuff. Alita Battle Angel, you can still see Alita on the 7th. some Rebel Wilson movie, Lego movie, blah blah blah, Glass. All of these things are still showing. These still have show times if you go in for Thursday.
See, the funny thing is, Lexicon Devil, I've actually never had... This part of the thing that annoys me. I've actually never had a viewing experience as bad as that particular one. Like, and I have gone to see, I saw How to Train Your Dragon 3 in theaters. I saw Incredibles 2 in theaters. I saw every other, I saw Captain Marvel and whatever. And generally, people are really well behaved. It's just specifically for Endgame, the culmination of 22 movies, the culmination of my childhood. That it just happened to be the case. It's just one of those things.
Now let's look at Friday. Let's look at Friday, since that's technically the day it opens. Apollo 11, Captain Marvel. See, here's the thing that people don't quite that they're still not.
Listen, the only movies that I can get my wife to go out and see with me are fun animated movies, animated family movies, and I can get her to go see MCU movies now because I've watched all of them with her.
Beginning. Nobody buys advance tickets.
I did manage to get her to
for old
see
movies.
her.
That's the
Us.
biggest thing. Nobody's buying a lot of tickets for like advance for old movies in advance. I do want to point out they will be slowly pushing in more theaters for all these other movies once Captain Marvel doesn't sell a whole lot of tickets. We're already seeing it for Thursday. We don't know for Friday because Friday's the day that like the normies go in and the
Oh, for fuck's sake! How did Mr. Gamers avoid this shit? But now we're just getting a torrent of it.
normies like say all that stuff, right? And the normies go and see the movies. Thank you so much, Darth Gavel, $2 super chat. Hail Mecca, Orange Cat, good. Blonde girl, bad. Yes, absolutely.
Blonde girl, bad.
There's another one coming up too. But we have one more thing. Oh, Price is Right review. Thank you so much. $2.
She's getting a flood of donations. I'm just saying, folks. No, it's fine.
Super chat.
Sure choice.
Just give the cat a sword and a hat, and then he's gold. He is. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And he's so adorable, though, too. Isn't he just so sweet and adorable? Like, I just love that little cat. Here we go. The other tweet. The other thing I want to show you. Now, this comes from somebody awesome in the Comicsgate community. You guys all know and love him, Edwin Boyette. He's looking at his Captain Marvel advanced theater showings, and there's quite a few open seats, it looks like, for the premiere. There's at least 50% availability remaining. I don't think this movie is going to do quite as good as they say. Also, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sith Lord 3827, $2. Yay. I'm famous on YouTube. Go get him. But yeah, I don't think this movie's going to do quite as well as we say it is. Also, it's not so much of a conspiracy. Just follow $1 super chat, like the cleavage. Thank you so much. So I just don't want anybody to you guys are distracting me a little with the super chats, but thank you. I really, really appreciate them. You're a real Puss in Boots, lol, yeah. Thank you so much, $2 super chat.
Has this been the same person every time? The Price is Right review?
I don't... here's the thing. This isn't a conspiracy that Fandango's only letting you buy Captain Marvel tickets. They really do sprinkle in show times because they don't know. Always with the big blockbustery sort of movies, the big Marvel movies, the biggest movie that's coming out that week kind of gets the theaters held on reserve, and then they sprinkle in the other movies according to the advance ticket sales. So if you do want Alita to still be in the theater, don't pre-order tickets to Captain Marvel. Just wait. You can probably just wait, show up. You probably don't need to see it unless you really, really, really want to. You're really, really.
So this person doesn't actually know anything? I was thinking there'd be like an update from Fandango about it being if it was a glitch or anything. I guess they just have more advanced screenings for big budget Marvel Cinematic Universe releases.
I'll figure out something. I might have some points or something. I don't want to give them money. That's the thing. Blonde girl bad. Orange cat good. Right? So it's I just want to prove the little Fandango conspiracy wrong. I know there's a lot of people who want it to be true. They want they want it to be true. We did kind of get them to take down Rotten Tomatoes.
I want to see some Orange Cat bad in the chat.
We did get that to happen. So I just want to let you guys know there are going to be tickets for other movies. just wait a couple of days. We don't want to pre-order tickets to Captain Marvel if we want to see other movies in the theater. Also, Gala donated $2 super chat.
Okay, nothing. Yeah, there's nothing. I thought that this would be a scandal update, but in reality, it was just. Guess that there's. I guess there's just more advanced tickets. That was the extent of that controversy. I don't even know if that one's worth putting in the archives here. Exposed. Critics admit to lying? What is going on here? Critics have admitted that they lied about their Captain Marvel reviews. Let's see this hot scoop. Geeks and Gamers never said anything about this.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and I'll try to keep this brief, as I think we've all experienced our maximum intake of Captain Marvel heinousness. I promise that tomorrow I've got at least 2 video game focused videos and probably nothing at all to say about Captain Marvel. And next week we'll obviously move into greener pastures.
Look, it's like the Quartering's Jack, and I'm Daxter.
Including EA, virtue signaling and calling gamers toxic as usual and things like that. But I've got a little something to expose here, something that was noticed late last night. People started sending me screenshots, and the folks over at Reddit had discovered that there is a interesting review, positive fake review copy pasta going on out there. In fact, there are several different copy pastas that were sent to me, but we're going to just look at one because it obviously proves the point. Now, I've said from the start that, of course, Captain Marvel will probably make money. It will probably be, forgettable, and that's looks like exactly what we're seeing here. We see when we look at Box Office Mojo, Captain Marvel doing very well in the foreign market, and through Friday having.
Sorry, that was me doing the DreamWorks face.
Through Friday having 60 million. So the weekend numbers will probably be close to, I'm guessing, 140 to 160 million. Nothing to write home about because, as one follower pointed out on Twitter, if you remember, Tron was deemed a flop, and that generated $400 million. You're talking about gigantic budgets for these films, hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising. So it's interesting to see where this actually will end up, and when the production budget actually drops. And I bet you
is this the stages of acceptance or whatever, the stages of trauma? So this is stage 1. This is denial. Maybe the movie just cost a lot to produce, and maybe people will just stop going to see it, and so maybe it's still not going to do well. I don't know.
Higher than most people think. But the common narrative among all these articles,
$1.1 billion.
are that, quote,
not that I care about like cheering on massive movie conglomerates earning lots of money, but in this particular instance, gonna have to give the L to my boy.
Trolls are tanking review scores. You can see Fortune magazine leading with trolls are tanking Captain Marvel's Rotten Tomatoes reviews, but they can't stop the box office haul. And I would argue that 52%, as I said all along and many times, the movie's probably is 60%, and it's leveling out here at 52. We know for a fact that Rotten Tomatoes.
I didn't actually tap a button.
Engineered this. They in fact
throw a link in the chat. I'll take a look.
And lied, saying that it was a quote glitch that deleted 40,000 votes. Yes, more people are voting on it, but you never know. I mean, hey, a lot of people are going to the theater. You can see this flood of overwhelmingly negative scores is likely the result of sometimes called vote brigading, a deliberate web-wide attempt to.
Did anyone see? I forget the name of the guy who just did a video about how like vote brigading isn't a thing, and if you get dislike bombed on a video, that just means that your video was bad. I forget who did that, but man, that video was the biggest load of bullshit I've ever seen, huh?
Lower, or in some case raise, a film's rating. It's no surprise that, quote, trolls have seized upon Captain Marvel in certain corners of the internet. Yes, the dark, scary ones. The movie has been a point of contention for weeks. In February, Larson noted to Marie Claire that writers and critics covering her films are white.
Take a look at this real quick. It is impossible to separate the term from its bad faith use. The term itself is rooted in sexist bullshit and needs to die. Oh, talking about Mary Sue's. What was the response then? The male version of the term is Gary Stew or Larry Stew. Mary Sue by itself is not sexist, it merely has a gender-specific use. Like his or her, he or she, Gary Stew or Mary Sue. Bullshit. Correct. Because the main thing about the whole, Gary Stew is a thing as well. People don't, like Gary Stew is literally only brought up with as a defense for Mary Sue being a sexist term, right? Because no one gives a fuck about if you're a Gary Stew other than when it comes to those movies. So, for instance, Peter Parker can be a genius inventor in his own right, and that's fine. But if Shuri from Black Panther is a genius inventor, a genius inventor like Prodigy, that's, Mary Sue, oof, that's just sort of how Luke Skywalker is a prime example as well. How in the original trilogy, if you actually rewatch those movies, Luke Skywalker is a farm boy, and then he spends about 10 minutes being taught about the Force, and then he manages to save the world by destroying the Death Star single-handedly. Okay, yeah, but obviously the fact that he is a Gary Stu does not get brought up nearly as much as Rey the Mary Sue. I want this term to go away so people can't use it to criticize me for bad character writing, basically. So this was in reference to the Arya Stark thing in Game of Thrones, which I'm not going to spoil too much, but basically there was about 6 or 7 seasons of build-up for her being a very proficient assassin character, and then she did something that would make sense for a very proficient assassin character to do, so who knows. Oh wait, why do I still have that one open? There we go.
Males. This is actually a reasonable article coming out of Fortune, it would seem. Friday morning, though, more than 50,000 user reviews for Captain Marvel.
Neither Lord of the Rings nor Game of Thrones are that good. Changed my mind.
Flooded the site. An impossible figure for a film just released. That's not true. Rotten Tomatoes blamed a glitch. And the number of reviews decreased. No, well, they deleted 50,000 reviews. Though the film's low user score remained mostly unchanged. Similar effects have been directed at such films as Star Wars The Last Jedi and last year's Black Panther. What? Black Panther? That's the highest rated movie in Marvel history. What are you talking about? Again, though,
that's critically. User reviews for Black Panther, how are they looking now? I mean, I'm sure that they had the same fixing up the vote brigading thing going on too, but let's take a look. The user rating for Black Panther, 79, so it's still pretty high actually. I guess that they had the sort of same thing happen that they did with Captain Marvel. They cleaned up all the 1-star vote brigades. Because yeah, people were pretty fucking mad about Black Panther for a period of time. I guess that they try and erase that controversy, the same as they're going to try and erase the Captain Marvel controversy now that movie's out.
Weekend is now flying toward an opening weekend of $150 million. Now that's middle of the road, nothing record-setting, nothing to sneeze at either, but of course given the giant budgets. So of course
I agree, Watson 87. I think Game of Thrones was legitimately really good until the end of season 4, and it's been a rapid decline since.
I would say, a 60 is probably reasonable. I mean, critics themselves, right? People who are paid only gave it a 79. And even when you have critics openly admitting that they gave Captain Marvel and other movies positive reviews to maintain their access. This is a huge, huge problem. This has been a problem that has plagued the video game industry for years. Movies, it's access journalism, meaning your job depends on you rubbing shoulders with people that have a
Let's get these actual quotes.
Agenda, meaning you're there essentially.
I feel like I remember this, so let's see how this goes.
Marketing arm. That's the only reason you're given early access. So they know that critics know that if they're overwhelmingly negative about a film or honest about a film, I will say, that they will lose their access.
Oh yeah, Quartering has tons of
Wire's
merch.
Danny Roth
I think that he has a tie-in with
Access
Geeks and
Media,
Gamers.
quote, plays softball in order to maintain access with Hollywood celebrities and studios while discussing.
Does he have the box? He has the merchandise box for a PlayStation controller. You know, you can just throw that away, dude.
The recent
Is that
Captain
his
Marvel
memorabilia?
Rotten Tomatoes controversy.
Some packaging
On
for a
Sci-Fi's
PlayStation
podcast,
controller?
Who won this week? Roth and his co-host, Sci-Fi's contributing editor, Karma Horne, and Sci-Fi's editor-in-chief were discussing recent changes to Rotten Tomato following fans indicating they were not interested in seeing. Roth admits that's how Access Media
He must be a
works.
real
We all know
gamer.
this, but it's interesting to hear somebody from the inside actually say this out loud. Assume he's blacklisted now. Here's the actual reality, he says. Here we are in the industry. If you want to talk about, quote, access media, every single person that wants to have access to things early, that wants to get access to things so traffic is drawn to their site, will on occasion. Everybody at this podcast, everybody in our industry, occasionally plays softball, occasionally has to look the other way a little bit. Everybody has to do it. In the sense that I hated a movie, but I won't say that I hated a movie, or an actor behaved a sort of way, and you don't want to put that out there that it happened. Horn chimes in, right, because you might not get the next review. Roth continues, to some degree, everybody in our industry is part of this quote-unquote access media and has to decide which battles they want to pick, which ones where my voice is the one that, which of the ones where my voice is the one that has to get said.
So far that doesn't say anything about, that doesn't seem like it's saying about reviews there. He's talking about playing softball, like, with the cast, for instance. Like, in an interview, you're not going to say, your movie sucked. Or, yeah, apparently you're a dick. You know, one of those things. But maybe I'm wrong on that. There's like an audio clip there. Maybe you'll play that.
Of course. Of course. Roth's statement about access media in response to Swiderski's idea that Rotten Tomato remove audience scores. They state, I think they should get rid of fan review entirely. When asked to elaborate, he did. It's not a right they run a website. They run a business. Critic reviews are
One thing that's also interesting to point out is that the Quartering is now admonishing people for self-censoring on the basis that it's more fiscally beneficial to them. Like, you know, they get the access, which means they get the coverage, which means, you know, they get the website traffic, for instance, right? So that only goes as far as when he agrees, maybe. Because if you remember back when he was talking about Captain America, I did the thing where you mix the character and the actor. When Chris Evans was giving his opinions in an interview, he was like, he should just shut up about it because no one wants to hear what he has to say and he's going to alienate his fan base. So on the basis that he might alienate consumers, he shouldn't be giving his opinions on things. So this critic, not wanting to alienate his revenue source, will play softball in interviews and things like that and articles. That's bad. But then when Chris Evans doesn't do that, it's good.
critic reviews, and that's fine. And listen, this isn't me saying fans can't have an opinion, but it's a tool. It's obviously being abused more than it's being used constructively, especially around particular films that politically rub some people the wrong way for certain reasons. It's why we can't have a nice thing. If nice people use it the way it was supposed to be used, but no one is. So screw it, goodbye. The mere fact that you give a voice or a platform to people who normally don't have a platform is part of the problem. You have an opinion that you don't really get to be responsible for because nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to challenge you on it. If you want to bring someone down or just ruin someone's day, you can say anything. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised to see Rotten Tomatoes essentially remove user reviews. But think about all the traffic and ad revenue Rotten Tomatoes has had in the past week of people rapidly refreshing their website, of tens of hundreds of thousands of people going there to leave reviews. Remember that they get ad revenue. Okay, Rotten Tomatoes needs the website traffic. If you remove user reviews, nobody really gives.
Yeah, so he's like keeps flipping between a pragmatic argument, e.g., you might disagree, but it earns you money, and at the end of the day, you need that cheddar cheese, right? He switches between that and then the moral argument of even if it may result in you getting less coverage because you're like shitting on actors in front of the actors or shitting on movies whenever you're given access to the set or whatever, that you have a moral obligation to give your honest thoughts and not play softball, even if, economically that's a bad call, right? Because then you won't get set. You're not going to get set access if every time you go on set you start shitting on the movie, right?
Nobody cares what critics really think because we know they're bought and paid for, and here this guy admits it. The only people's reviews that I care about are the users. And I can tell the difference between a review brigade and honest reviews. I'm not an idiot. Most people aren't. But this is exactly what they want to censor people. And the narrative, again, has been that only negative reviews get brigaded. Well, how about this? There are literally hundreds of these. Different users all upvoting each other using the exact same copy pasta. I'll make it very simple and clear. Captain Marvel is really worth a watch, and it's entertaining and visually impressive. Exactly what it was meant to be. Just keep this in mind, and it's the exact same review done by hundreds of different users. Even when I Google Captain Marvel reviews, look at what I see. I'll make it simple and clear. And
wait,
just in
two of
case
those
you've
are
never heard
thumbs
of the
down
blatant copy
reviews.
pasta, I'll make it simple and clear. I mean, look at them all. And these are all positive.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. That's a thumbs down review. This is a thumbs down review.
Obviously, people are not saying... And then you have 110 people saying it's helpful. There's obviously something going on here. Now, that isn't to diminish people... that isn't to say that people aren't leaving negative reviews who haven't seen the movie. Of course. But that always happens. And you know what? There's also tons of people leaving 10s who never saw the movie. When we saw IMDb, yeah, most scores are either 10 or 1. A normal, intelligent person would see that.
It's almost like user reviews aren't really worth very much because people get tribal very quickly.
And say, okay, well, those are probably either fan.
If a bunch of them are thumbs down reviews, doesn't that imply that this is a copy pasta from negative review brigaders? No, Turbo Button. That would be ridiculous.
Well, those are probably either fanboys or haters. And that puts it right here in the 50 to 60 range. That's where this film is. I think a 60%.
I'm actually getting really hungry. I might call it early so I can make myself a burger or something.
Makes it red or not.
Veggie burger. I'm vegan. Please don't cancel me.
The critics 79. It's not going to move much from here. There's 330 reviews in. 1 or 2 coming in now isn't going to move it. So it might finish at 80%. Might drop to 78. But this is it. This is where it's going to end. It's going to be a middle of the road Marvel film. But I just want people to know that this quote review brigading. It goes both ways. Now, did Disney hire these people? I don't know. Is some sort of op?
Why are you reporting on it then?
I don't know. But is it to counter the narrative that there are negative review brigades? But I haven't seen this level of negative, where it's so easily determined that they're literally just copy pasting the same thing with different users. Okay, so.
Again, sort of the giveaway here is that most of them are still ticked as negative reviews. So listen, this might be completely out there, but say for the sake of argument that you got 6 people on 4chan to leave a copy pasta review on Yelp or whatever the fuck. So, I know that's so insane, but
Love it or hate the movie. Hopefully, we're done talking about it for a very long time. I've got a lot of video game related things.
Pepe's are fine. I think this community is small enough that we mostly get that you're not dog
Talk
whistling.
about in the next few days. I hope you enjoyed this video though, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay, so that was the guy admitting, sci-fi, Roth, Captain Marvel review. So there was an audio clip that Quartering didn't play that I actually wanted to give a listen to. See if we can get some additional context here. Oh my god, ads! Where's that audio clip? Wait, did they edit it out? What's going on? Here we go.
Everybody in our industry occasionally has to play softball, occasionally has to, look the other way a little bit. Everybody has to do it.
Wait, returning what? Like a movie
in
that's
the sense
bad,
that,
or-
I hated a movie, but I won't say that I hated the movie. Or an actor behaved a sort of way, and you don't want to, put it out there that happened.
Right, because you might not get the next review,
Right.
next
So
gig.
to some
Okay.
degree, everybody in our industry that is a part of this quote unquote access media has to sort of decide
Access
which
media.
battles they want to pick.
Yeah, so it's talking about access media. So say when you're making like a feature on, a set, you did a set visit, it's talking about a movie, or you're doing an interview or something like that, something where you have access, that's a situation, you're not going to shit on the movie to the actor, right? I don't think he's talking about reviews here. I could be wrong. I'm actually going to look into this a little bit, because if he is talking about reviews, then I don't know why he said that on a podcast. I think it's a pretty huge scandal, isn't it, in the review industry to admit that you gave a good review for press? I think that's like hugely frowned upon in the movie review business. I'm pretty sure he was talking about like when you're on set or talking to the actors, you don't necessarily voice that you hate a movie or something. I'll look into this. Okay. Let's throw that in my my bag of tricks here. But that seems fairly straightforward, right? Like, you guys get that? The notion that if you're doing that kind of thing, that you won't necessarily be saying that stuff? Okay. Brie Larson to direct the next MCU film. Actually, let's just do this one. Let's see what the Quartering's thoughts are on this.
Man, I've been missing some serious.
Hey guys, remember the body language ghost thing? Let's see what the Quartering thinks about it.
High quality roasts. Now it's no surprise.
The quote was said by something Roth on from Sci-Fi.
It's no news to you that the Avengers cast all love Brie Larson, the savior, the new face of Marvel, and there has been a huge press junket going on recently where most of the Avengers are touring around, one or two of the original cast along with Brie Larson, which I'm sure is on purpose so that they're
On that
ushering
Rogaine.
in the new face of Marvel, which totally makes sense, and I understand every reason why they're doing it. But out of this press tour has come some
Yeah, why is there a noose in his logo?
absolutely merciless ribbing. Some of it seems good-natured, while other parts of it seem like there's a general disdain for Brie Larson. So let's do the little greatest hits of all the great roasts in just the past few days. And also we're going to talk about Brie Larson's little who white lie about doing all her own stunts.
I am committed to self-improvement, and I work at being the best person that I can be and using this platform for as much good as I can. But it doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes, but I'm very comfortable with that and allowing myself to learn from those mistakes.
No, I don't know if Renner is. I mean, he looks completely uninterested. Now, some background on the question is the interviewer said, hey, do you view your celebrity as like a responsibility to use for, to make the world a better place? And of course, Brie does. But let's look at how Jeremy Renner, by the way, his film, Wind River, greatly underrated if you haven't seen it. But let's look at
I don't think I've ever seen Jeremy Renner not look tired and bored in any interview. I think maybe he doesn't like the months of press or weeks and weeks of press junkets he has to do for every Marvel movie.
a man who might be doing a full body eye roll here and see what his response was.
I am committed to self-improvement, and I work at being the best person that I can be and using this platform for as much good as I can. But it doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes, but I'm very comfortable with that and allowing myself to learn from those mistakes.
This might be one of the best.
He didn't roll his eyes. He looked down at the ground and wiped some sleep out of his eyes. Almost like he's tired. I don't know.
Low-key burns I've seen to date. Take it away, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, I'm pretty accountable and responsible for my own life, at any rate. So, celebrity is not something that I use as any sort of platform to be more responsible or accountable, I suppose.
Oh, yikes. Yikes. That is a savage low-key burn. And then just the interactions with, let's take it to Don Cheadle and see how that went for Brie Larson. Now, it seems like she is trying to...
Wait, was that it? Wait, so his epic pone on Brie Larson... His epic pone on Brie Larson, I think, was that Brie Larson said she tries to be responsible for her platform or whatever, and then Jeremy clarified that he likes to try and take responsibility for his own life. He doesn't consider celebrity to be something that, it's not like, oh, I feel like I have to be responsible because I'm a celebrity. He just likes to be responsible for his own life, right? Which I think is a fairly reasonable response to make. But that's an epic pone on Brie Larson, actually.
Kind of low-key josh with them, but I don't pick that
Yeah,
up.
that's the
I
thing,
pick
Happy
up
Bunny.
that-
The thing is, at the end of the day, Jeremy Renner could fucking hate Brie Larson. That doesn't really, in isolation, mean anything to Brie Larson's character. As someone else said, Jeremy Renner could just be a bit of a dick, right? For all we know. We don't know. I don't know.
They are just not having it.
It doesn't mean anything.
Finding our way, but it was a good group of people to figure it out with.
Yeah.
Right, guys?
Isn't
it fun being there for all my extra takes?
Signed you up
Told you
from
about
the
the
apprenticeship.
And we're all coming in for this last sort of moment that there's all these new relationships being built, and we kind of get to come back and meet each other again, see each other again. There's a real, I think, affection among the cast members, except for
No, this is terrible. No, this is terrible.
Now, the first clip, now maybe they're going into this saying like, hey, it's a meme. We're going to dump on Brie. We're going to, kind of just dump on the new kid. And maybe that first clip where he's like, yo, don't touch me. Combined with her body language where she's kind of like, she almost is acting
The
like
body
she
language.
knows they don't like her. Now, maybe...
We're getting the body language meme again, folks.
They're all great friends. Okay, of course it's possible that I'm seeing something that's not there. Maybe it's because I strongly dislike.
Yeah, I found the Mr. Gamers just entertaining. He gave me life, but the quartering is like sucking the air out of the room. The Geeks and Gamers is the kind of guy where you're at a party, right? And even though you disagree with him on everything, you just wanna hang out with him a little bit because he says such funny things, right? Especially when you get him drinking, I'm sure. He just seems like he'd be fun to have a drink with. The quartering sounds like the person, or from what I've seen here, I would avoid this man at all costs at the party. He just comes off as very obnoxious. He doesn't seem interesting in the way... Geeks and Gamers is a character. The quartering just makes me sad.
Like Brie Larson, my interactions with her thoughts.
I would actually say yes, that's spot on. Geeks and Gamers is kind of Alex Jonesy, whereas quartering is Paul Joseph Watson. I would say I don't think that Mr. Gamers is as bad as Alex Jones, but...
Thoughts and words over the past year, but it seems...
Yeah, the quartering doesn't have any fucking car videos. He just has videos where he's sitting in front of a fucking PlayStation controller box.
Seems like her own castmates don't like it. Now, in the second clip, it seems more playful to me, but we're starting to build a little picture. Now, when you add to that everything with Mr. Hemsworth, now you're starting to see things.
You know, like I said, there's been a sort of a passing of the torch, and Brie just has to not screw it up.
Oh yeah, bonus Don Cheadle meme. Now, I actually can really understand how the Avengers might be feeling. The actors, obviously, themselves. Maybe they are feeling a little bit of that, man, this is something we've all built over a decade, and now we're just supposed to hand it off to this new Jack. As Cheadle basically is like, yo, we've done all the work. All she's got to do is not screw it up.
Do you think the Quartering has friends? Because, like, I don't know if any of you guys have friends, but often you will say something and it might seem like a little bit mean as a joke to your friends. And the notion that the Quartering is processing this as, oh yeah, they must be really mad because now Brie Larson's the new superhero and they don't get to be the cool new superheroes anymore. That, like, Don Cheadle, what is he, like 50? Yeah, Don Cheadle, like a 50-year-old dude who's been doing these movies for decades, right? Oh yeah, Don Cheadle is really mad that Captain Marvel's the new superhero, right? He was really invested in this. That's why he's throwing shade at her in this interview. There is a special bonus I have for you folks after this video, but we'll get to that.
Now, of course, this could be entirely true. Maybe Chris Hemsworth's kids have not seen Captain Marvel, although a film that grossed about...
As we went through last stream, there is also that, like, Tom Holland has the exact same ribbing from, you know, it was Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie.
$1 billion worldwide, and from a father who is an Avenger and Thor himself in the films.
Yeah, Don Cheadle is 54 years old. 54-year-old Don Cheadle is mad at Brie Larson because she's the new superhero.
Seems unlikely that his children haven't seen it. It could be a low-key burn.
That's entirely the correct thing to do, Jazzahole.
Either way, pretty funny. And when you stack on all the other interactions between Brie and Chris, you start to see a bigger
Isn't Paul Rudd
picture
50?
of what I think is the man just does not like this woman.
There's no competition for me because I'm the strongest, so it's just kind of like a different...
Well, yeah, you should let her think that, but yeah.
It's not. As I've said before, it's not. It's just a fact. It's not a personal opinion.
No,
and it's not a reflection on what you can't do, but it is also kind of a reflection on all that you can't do.
It's just that you're just not that strong. But she's really smart, and, you know, but should we have a fight?
And she can eat bacon.
I feel like we're fighting right now. I think it's been an all-day thing.
These are just tiny parts. And at the end of this clip, she's literally saying like, I feel like we've been fighting all day. Well, I mean, you know, I mean, hey, look, I want to point out too that could be entirely possible that the original Avengers cast are just being salty, and maybe Brie did nothing behind the scenes to upset them. Maybe they're more mad at the situation where it's really like the end of their time and they're being passed up. Not only is the torch being passed, but it's being passed to basically the most OP superhero of all time, and they're just...
I can't. This guy's too much. This guy might actually be too much. So, Chris Hemsworth is mad because Captain Marvel is OP. So Chris Hemsworth is salty at Brie Larson because Captain Marvel is overpowered compared to Thor. Legitimately. It's not that Chris Hemsworth is kind of playing into his character of Thor, who is kind of self-conscious about his power level, right? But that's something that's been established quite a lot. You know, there was that whole joke in Thor Ragnarok, like, strongest Avenger Thor, and he was kind of had a rivalry with Hulk because he thought he was stronger than the Hulk. And, you know, Thor had that kind of thing going on with his character, and he's kind of playing along with that. No, Chris Hemsworth, the actual adult man, is angry that Captain Marvel is OP. I can't. This guy might be too much.
Than all of them at everything. Maybe there's a little bit of that. They're a little sick of all the Captain Marvel hype. These, I think, would be natural emotions, natural reactions to this. But Chris seems to have a little bit more venom for Brie than the rest of everybody.
I do all my
This is the thing.
stunts.
I did my stunts because I thought that that's what everyone did, and then
Tom Cruise over here?
no, I'll be the first me, not the next Tom Cruise. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Well, now that's an interesting statement to make, Brie Larson. See, I wonder if, now you're giving Hemsworth the business about not doing his own stunts. He has a stunt double, but if you're watching this video now, there's clear photographic evidence of Brie Larson's stunt
Oh
double.
my
So
fucking...
was this double just on the set?
No, he's
for
too much.
moral
He's too much.
support?
He's too much. This is the I may have to stop now. This man is incredible. So he's calling out Brie Larson for lying about having a stunt double when she's ribbing on Chris Hemsworth for I did my own stunts. I guess Chris just couldn't. Like, yes, she has fucking set photos with her stunt double. She's like got pictures where she's like standing with her stunt double. She obviously couldn't she couldn't lie. She would not get away with lying that she has a stunt double. What are you on about, my friend? Oh god, it's canon now. Thank you for the follow.
Or did you have a stunt double and did you lie?
Look, she's posing with her stunt double. How could she be actually trying to play it off as a lie that she didn't have a stunt double?
About doing all of your stunts. See, only one of those two can be true. And who can forget the fact that Brie Larson's own butt had to have a stunt double? If you remember that there was a casting call presumably for Brie Larson, feature film Mary Lou, but body double. Working multiple days starting in September, location Fayetteville, Georgia. Central Casting is looking for a photo double to work on this exciting filming that will likely begin in early September. She should have a flexible schedule. Woman number 1 looking for a female who appears to be Caucasian, 20s to 30s, height 5'2" to 5'4", and they give some other body size. You got to have a headshot, full body shot, and a full body shot of your backside wearing all black. Please put body double in the subject line. Now, in an act of fairness and accuracy, we do have to state that the call does not directly say that the double will be for Brie Larson, as it could be for Scarlett Johansson, unlikely, who plays Black Widow in the film. But while we're still in the speculation of the story,
Whoopsie. Well, so much for not likely, eh? Oof.
we speculate. Why might she need a butt double?
Actually, Scarlett Johansson wouldn't have a body double because she's so hot. She's so hot that she would just do her own stunts. Her butt would just bounce off of anything that...
I mean, I don't know. I mean, only you know, you're gonna
Wasn't
have
Scarlett
to really
Johansson pregnant for most of for like Avengers 2 and all that?
wonder why she might have butt. No, I'm not butt shaming her. I'm just saying, hey, you know, even your butt isn't real in the film. That doesn't seem very woke. And if you're...
Even your butt isn't real. That doesn't seem very woke. Real butts are woke. I believe this is the Quartering's understanding of the woke community.
going to give other Avengers the business for not doing all their stunts, well, you better hope that pictures of your stunt double don't pop out like they already did. But the question to you, which is your favorite low-key Avengers roast of Brie Larson? Do you think that the feeling is real, that they really don't like her? Because I think I could definitely understand. There may be a certain degree of this that isn't even Brie's fault.
All right. Here's the fun. So, we ended up getting Don Cheadle here. Responding directly to our best pal Body language ghost. God. Jesus Christ. Don Cheadle tweets quite a lot. Here we go. Where was it? So, Don Cheadle was linked to the body language video that we saw last stream, where it was a body language expert, not accredited in any way. There is no such thing as a body language degree. They just sort of have a sense of these things, and they were analyzing how it's very clear from that interview clip that all of the Don Cheadle and Chris Hemsworth genuinely hate Brie Larson. Don Cheadle responded with, "You should see my body language right now. This is some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard. Brie was trying to keep her ponytail behind her because her hairstylist kept flying in and fixing it. She's actually being over-accommodating. Amazing." So when it actually went through, it turns out it was, in fact, just a joke. So that'll probably get coverage if I do a video on the subject. I know I'm kind of cutting it early now, but I'm really hungry. I need to pee, and my phone is now fully charged, so I'm ready to record my next video. So I'm going to do that. I think that was a good thing to end off on, though. So the quartering, honestly, I'd rather keep watching Geeks and Gamers videos because I find the quartering genuinely awful. I mean, Geeks and Gamers isn't great, but he's entertaining as a character. If you can kind of depersonalize him, if you dehumanize him. But yeah, so I'm gonna head off for now. I might be back later. I'm gonna do some recording. I want to try and get a video out by midweek. So maybe if editing goes well, maybe tomorrow night I could get a video out. If not, it will be Wednesday, I think, will be release day. Wednesday is the expected release day. I don't have a sponsor for this video, so I'm not gonna need to like wait for approval before I can put the video up. I can just put that straight up. This will be covering the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, #GotFixFast. So if you're interested in my thoughts on that, you can expect that either tomorrow or the next day. No problem for the stream, Watson87. Make sure you'll follow if you like the content, subscribe if you like the content, donate, whatever. But in any case, thank you for watching. Feel free to clip any funny parts and put it on Livestream Fail because it's the only way I can get any kind of reach for this channel. But whatever. Toru Space Prince, thanks for hanging. Turbo Button, thanks for hanging. Piebarts, thanks for hanging. All you folks. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Ian Windsor. You can watch the archive web. I will be back streaming in the next few days. I'm going to be doing some XCOM, I think. You came at an unfortunate time. But yeah, so I'll see you all later. Have a great night. Byesy byes. Respect women.